cheap games, check out g2a.com, link in the description. Well, hello there people from the internet and welcome to more Battlefield 1. Today we're talking about the planes. Yes, planes. I ain't getting no plane, fool. You know who Mr. T is. So today there's a couple of pointers that I like to point out, and if you want to get yourself into the air and keep on flying and keep on getting a good amount of kills by staying alive and getting away from the AA and dogfighting and all that sort of stuff. Now, one of the most important things that you need to know is that there is a ton of AAs on the map. Now, the AAs are powerful as hell and they can reach you almost halfway across the map, and that's okay if it's one, two of them, but in this particular case, there's a lot more than just two on this map that we're playing today. Now, regardless of how good of a pilot you are, so let's just look at the last stats that I left with Battlefield 4. By checking out my battle log on Battlefield 4, I left with just under 10,000 kills when it came down to the attack planes, the Little Bird, the Z-11, the attack helicopter, just under 10,000 kills. So I do have quite a few kills, and that's considering I only started sort of flying sort of halfway through Battlefield 4, because in the early stages we all know there were some bugs and there were some issues that they needed to sort out. Now, as I said earlier on, it doesn't matter how good of a pilot you are, the AAs are just OP as shit. The Flak is just too OP as it is on the map. There's just too many of them. There's just simply no way for you to counter them, and because of the maps being a lot smaller than we had in previous Battlefield games, there isn't just simply enough room for you to get out of the way. I mean, sure, on this map you do have the advantage of going a little bit over this mountain and you can repair, but if you have somebody going after you, by the time you've got shot by the flak cannon a couple of times and you're trying to repair, the repair just takes way too long, and chances are you're not going to make it too far away because somebody will just come, just finish you off with a couple of shots, and then that's it, you are done. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out how many AAs are on the map. Now, this particular map that we're playing, Monte Grappa, it's got 7 AAs altogether, and that's all the locations where the AAs are, and they could all be manned by somebody that's going to reach you pretty much almost everywhere when you're flying. Now, there isn't really too much you can do about it, because if you get hit once or twice, you will start going into that jittery move that you can't really do anything and you'll end up crashing. There's simply not enough time for you to react, and there's nothing for you to do. The AA is just way too overpowered as they stand so far, and hopefully in the next patch they're going to address this, because we know flying can be really fun, dogfighting can be really fun. There is a couple of issues out there, like the gunner on a fighter plane, or the gunner on the bomber. They just simply have too much power and they deal too much damage to you that fast. There's no point for a little plane, and the little planes like the Fokker DR1 or the Albatross or whatever the plane you're using, depending on the map, you simply just don't have enough room for you to react. Now, it's almost impossible for you to go at the back of somebody that's got a tail gunner and you taking them out from behind, which you should be doing in the little planes. The scout planes are the ones that are supposed to take out planes out. Those have a specific role. The actual dogfighter that you can have, as long as he doesn't have anybody in the back, then you do have a chance. But as long as he's got a gunner in the back, chances are you're not going to make it, just because he's just simply too OP, and it takes a couple of seconds for him to put a couple of shots into you, and that's it, you are done. That being said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. That's The Rock, by the way. Not my best impression of The Rock. That being said, you can still have a little fun by using the planes. Now, like I said, it's incredibly fun for you to have a dogfight with a couple of pilots. It's incredibly fun for you to try and roadkill people on top of the Zeppelin. It's incredibly fun for you to try and roadkill people just on the ground. There's a couple of things that you should sort of be focused on just before you get into a plane. You know that the AA is going to be OP, and you're always having to keep your eye out where the AA is and who's manning the AA, because that's basically going to be your #1 priority, is just making sure that the AA is not there. But before you get anything like that done, here's a couple of things that might help you along your way. One of the first things that you need to do, if you decided that flying is for you, there's a couple of things that you need to do first off. Go into your settings, to the advanced, and turn the chase camera roll off. You don't want that, and I'll show you in a little bit why you don't want that. The second thing what you want to do is you go to your video and you have your vehicle 3P field of view. You turn that all the way up, because if you turn it all the way up, you'll be able to see a lot more. Now, remember that I just said to turn off your 3DP camera chase camera roll thing? Right, the reason you want to turn that off is because you're not going to get dizzy when flying. I mean, if you look on the right, it's nice and smooth, and on the left is by having it on, which is the default version of it. It's just going to make you dizzy, and it's going to be really confusing when you're dogfighting, so have that turned off. If you have the benefit of a squad and TeamSpeak or Skype or whatever, you have a call going on, things are going to be a lot easier when you're flying. Not only that you can talk to each other and let each other know when the AA is being manned, but you also have the ground troops that will do as much damage as you can to whoever or whatever flag they're attacking, and probably he's not going to be staying in the AA for that amount of time. If you only have the one AA that's going to be sort of doing damage to you, in this case he's probably shooting from, say, D or B or something like that. If your squad are attacking that flag, he's not going to be staying in it too long, giving you just a couple of more seconds for you to line him up and shoot him. Now, if you don't have the benefit of a squad, the only thing that you really have is the element of surprise. Now, you can go all the way up high. Usually your ceilings are sort of 300-400 meters up, and the flat cannon won't be able to reach you that far up. By using the trench fighter, you have a really nice secondary fire with this secondary weapon, which is the exploding darts. Now, the exploding darts can be aimed from 300-400 meters up. Just shoot him in his direction, and if you do get a couple of hits on him, maybe you will make a move, and then he'll give you again a couple of more seconds just for you to be able to make your move and try and take him out so he's not going to be there. Now, by doing this, like I said, you will be killing somebody 2-3 times in a row. You will piss him off, and he will stay in the AA a lot of the times, and you will have minutes and minutes just sort of going around the ceiling and not really doing too much just because you can't get close to the ground. But that's kind of the only way to do it for now. When it comes to dogfights in other planes, now it's all about sensitivity. It's all about how you have your personal preferences and how everything works in your favor and how everything works for you. But I tend to find that by lining somebody up and going into first person is going to be just a little bit better when you're aiming at somebody and just posing a bigger threat to him. Rather than using the third person mode for it, you should be using first person, because that's going to be the most effective way for you to take somebody out. Now, we already know that later down the month we're going to have a massive patch. It's been confirmed by DICE. We're going to get another map. We're going to get Suez being tweaked. It's also going to be all sorts of balancing and stuff in there. So hopefully we'll see something about the planes and the AAs, because it could be incredibly fun to use planes. I mean, road killing people on top of the Zeppelins and getting into situations where you should be really dogfighting, but you can't because something's just way too overpowered and you can't really engage targets on the ground. You're not really helping your team too much because you're always having to worry about the AAs or maybe something else. It's going to be a bit too much, and hopefully there's going to be some balancing done when it comes down to the planes. As for the best fighter, the best plane that I think that you should be using for now, you're going to get a lot more kills, a bit more rewarding. It's not as boring. I still think you should go for the trench fighter. Those kind of kills will keep you going, and it's going to be a lot more fun to use it. But I still think the tank hunter attack plane is a really good one. The only problem with that is that once you get hit once or twice on the nose with it by an AA gun, you will end up just going into a free fall nosedive, and there's nothing you can do to sort of correct it. But with a little plane, with a scout, you still have a chance to get away. So that's it for me for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.